All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Parasyte the Maxim, episode 19.
Shinichi's in some deep Shinichi. Yeah.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Mm-mm.
It's not good.
No, he's...
If there's any way he gets out of this, it's that there's some kind of subliminal communication that this guy fears Shinichi more than the government. So therefore he kind of does the beta thing and just goes, no, it's nothing.
Or potentially Shinichi gets outed, but they don't immediately go, let's kill him, Yes. They actually ask questions and then,
Jacob and I are constant proponents for the hope of humanity being, rational and, logical regarding these things.
Especially when it's in a contained situation, more or less, where there's no imminent threat of danger.
Yeah, but
necessarily.
Again,
but yeah.
Rationality. Human logic. And
Yep.
So let's see how that works out. We've got our situation outside mostly resolved. Murano has a much more positive opinion now of Shinichi because of the whole bit with Tamaro Reiko.
Yep.
And a human baby.
When will they find out? Yeah.
And let's get right into this, y'all. All right, everyone. Now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, and then come back here for the discussion.
Well, this is I'm glad.
I am glad that Shinichi wasn't outed because we have one of those typical kill them all, extermination kind of agents in this group here, because then he would have been a problem for the typical reaction there. But what's good about that is that separates our inspector guy.
Yes,
from
exactly. Yeah, Kuromori now doesn't have to be that role, because I almost feel like Kuromori was kind of taking that role because they didn't have the other guy, introduced in the story yet.
Yeah.
Now, granted, maybe if Shinichi had, that guy was only introduced after Shinichi was not discovered, so maybe things could have gone well if Shinichi was discovered in the other situation, but now it's almost definitely not going to work if Shinichi is discovered to be a parasite in this situation, because there's someone who doesn't have experience with this whole thing and things like that, and people do crazy things when they're scared and whatnot. But,
right, and as far as they're concerned, this is an alien invasion of sorts, so they're taking this to the utmost extreme. There is no there is no first contact kind of questions things, because there's a track record with the parasites that basically overrides any form of diplomacy, which is they've eaten a bunch of us,
right?
So we will now exterminate them,
right? And the issue is that, and this is even in the previous episode, we saw instances of parasites not doing things that they would normally do, and the humans observed this. But it didn't change what they did. So if that didn't change what they did, Shinichi kind of has to stay hidden the entire time. Otherwise, things just won't go well, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately,
even if it gets out of hand, it gets into a crazy battle, and he actively goes and fights the parasites alongside them. It wouldn't matter at this point. Now I would,
but I think I just kind of saw the ending in my mind.
Oh, yeah?
Because of the way this is going. The way this is going reminds me a lot of one of the classic sci-fis of our time, which is Blade Runner. Blade Runner, I feel like, is going to have the ending that this show is going to end with.
Okay.
All those moments lost, like tears in the rain, like that. I don't think I quoted that exactly right. Do you know the exact quote?
I don't. I think that actually might have been the exact quote. I was just thinking about the fact of that quote in conjunction with the fact that a big conflict for the show has been that Shinichi doesn't cry. And we just got him to cry, so
but I think it's going to end with Goto having to be stopped by Shinichi, even though he doesn't want to, because in some ways Goto probably will be, trying to defend himself and might go a little bit vicious, and that is why, you know, Shinichi needs to step in and stop him. And then it will end with Migi sacrificing himself for Shinichi's sake and separating and letting himself die so that he can have a happy kind of life with Murano, but he'll lose his arm, you know. And the thing that will be kind of the part that will be the parasite that will, you know, kind of remain on is the fact that Shinichi is still forever changed physiologically, you know, because of
right. Yeah, even if they get rid of the arm, there's all the other stuff. And yeah, and maybe Shinichi will just have to be put down.
Yeah, I don't think that'll happen, but the way that we've set this all up here, we basically jumped to the next set piece rather quickly, which I like that they're not messing around with trying to find them. It's more of a thing of like, oh, right, no,
they're moving along at a clip pace. They're not going back to the high school shenanigans for real, you know.
Right, but it's been how much time since the hair pulling test was initiated? During that time, they've been surveilling the population, and this is their you know, biggest, you know, find, so to speak.
Right.
And it just so happens to be the one that's not
right, even if they don't know who it is in this area.
Yes, exactly.
I am a little bit sad that they're not doing more immediately with the whole baby thing and the stuff that was explored as far as the nature of parasites in humans and things like that in the previous episode, because that was really big stuff, right?
Yeah.
And granted, this is more of like the exciting kind of thrill, you know, stuff.
The next mini arc of sorts,
right? But it's one of those things where it's like, and not that I think it will be, but like that the stuff with the baby, that's something that they need to bring back up. Right? You know,
I didn't finish my ending theory. Was that Shinichi and Murano will adopt the baby. That'll be their happy ending of sorts, and maybe they'll have to wait years in order to do it, but. You know,
right.
I feel like that's the perfect happy ending for all of this here, is that unfortunately Migi will basically find his humanity in realizing that, you know, the world isn't ready. Basically, human beings aren't ready for another species to come in and basically integrate. And that's the dark part of this show, is that we would never probably accept these parasites as they are. They would need to change.
Well, right, but we know that change is possible, you know.
Yeah, but I don't think this is the type of show about where humanity learns its lesson.
If you think this has a happy ending, you haven't been paying attention. I'm really glad it didn't go to like flamethrowers, torching, and things like that. Not yet.
They found one already. So here's where we're probably going to find out what their response is. They said deploy. What was it? Appropriate measures or safety measures or countermeasures or something.
Yeah. Well, that was. Well, and also the whole thing of like 7 at once, like maybe that's just something to make it be faster so that the parasites can't like think up some way around this or whatever. But it almost seems like they just say one at a time, you know, just like separated by like, you know, 20 feet or something. But, you know, I don't know.
Maybe the reason why it has something to do with if you get a group, if you get a specific number of people, regardless of whether it's 3,
then
5,
the parasite
or 7.
Thinks that it's still basically safe if it maintains its cover. Sure,
exactly.
Which is kind of like a human shield kind of a thing, but because that's a good explanation. Because barring that, it seemed I would think it feels dangerous. More just like a setup of like and here's where we can have a casualties of war kind of a thing where they just start torching all 7 people, you know.
Well, you think that they're going to be able to convince people to walk through this area 7 at a time if they torch any of them?
No, right. So what they need to do after this is have like a multi-stage thing where then they say, okay, yeah, cool, you're all right, and then they take them to another area where they like separate them somehow. And...
I'm dumb. There's no logical way that there's no proof that we know that the crowd can see the 7 going through the area that's getting X-rayed.
Sure, but if there was going
through an S kind of shaped way that goes around one of the buses.
But however they deal with the parasite, it needs to be something far away, because otherwise there's a and then that's not going to encourage.
Well, yeah, even if it's just
cooperation,
gun, and then
yep,
yeah, that's not gonna
cut it. That's not going to cut it.
Panic ensues.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And so, but the thing is that they can be like, okay, yeah, you're all good to go. And then they start sending them, like, load them into a truck, send them somewhere else, and then do something. But
that actually would be, oh my God, you know what actually would be, it feels gross that I'm saying this, but you know what would be smarter is you don't actually, you don't do anything to them. You just tag them in the system.
Right. Now, the fact that they can change their face kind of makes that difficult, but
still, all you'd have to do is just be like, okay, good, everyone that made it through, we need you to go through a processing bit, and in the processing bit, they basically give them,
right, and try and make it be something that the parasite wouldn't be aware of,
Yeah, something like checking your ID.
Sure.
I mean, at the very least. But yes, definitely, the parasites are probably all thinking, crap, immediately after this, it doesn't matter
wiping
what
my
it is.
identity,
I'm
starting
over.
Uh-huh.
Because they're probably all freaking out about, like, well, this is really bad.
Yeah, if they could get it to be something where they then take the group of 7 and then basically have them go through, like, a more scrutinized, like, thing of, like, all right, let's get you out of here, just so that they can separate them, so that there's a point where the parasite doesn't see the other people, then you can do something different with the parasite, and the parasite might not realize it.
God.
But yeah, this is going to get into some messed up territory where it's basically, how do we process people, in order to commit genocide on this alien species? Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely.
Yep.
Lovely. I liked that our Uragami guy got some very disturbing backstory, but the backstory was focused around the idea that he sees himself as actually already being quite similar to them, because the end result is something that they do based on their animal instincts, and he's doing based on his own creepy desires, obviously, but also in some ways that he doesn't necessarily respect life. He doesn't value it in that way, so he sees the people as toys, or he sees them as in the same way that the parasites see them as food, basically. So
right.
It's a condescension of sorts of roles. But then when he actually gets found out, it was a parasite's thing that a parasite's murder, or killings, feeding, that ended up getting him caught, when he was someone that...
Yeah, they probably found out afterwards. They're like, okay, so this guy didn't actually do this, but he did kill a bunch of other people. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, maybe this is something they'll bring up, but as a theme, I find it a little interesting, the idea that the attraction of similarities, the idea that this cold, heartless killer ended up kind of being attracted to the cold, heartless killer.
Sure.
There's different means by it. The parasites are doing it for the feeding process, but
right, and there's also the possibility that he might not be a Kana type, because the way they explained it here, right, rather than just, because if they explain it, then there's the possibility that it's something different than what would be natural to assume, right?
Okay.
Because Kana's the only thing that we've seen that's similar to this.
Yeah.
That would also potentially explain why he didn't, like, once he was around Shinichi again and Migi was awake, he wasn't like,
well, it has to be turned on, probably.
Maybe.
I would assume it's an active ability, not a passive ability.
Possibly, but well, or at least in the way they talked about it, of him just sort of watching the people, right? That's something where it's like, yeah, that would make sense that it wouldn't pick up on Shinichi, because it's not, it's still Shinichi, right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
So the parasites are trapped, but they are being let out.
Yep.
But are they? How will the humans respond to this? This is a conundrum. This is one of those railroad track kind of situation, kind of moral questions here, basically.
Yeah, and in a lot of ways, it was only a matter of time before someone like this guy gets introduced and, you know, and is like, okay, we're going to kill all these things, you know. Which makes sense. I'm just curious to see how they decide to take it, because there are ways that you can take something like this that is very simple and kind of we've seen before, you know, which doesn't mean it's bad, but it's less interesting than, say, well, what would be the unique, you know, Parasyte take on this kind of a thing.
Well, I mean, in some ways, I have always been basing this show more on execution rather than uniqueness.
Right, exactly.
This is based on an older manga where also a lot of things are going to be referencing it more than anything.
Sure.
So if anything, like, I'm just glad that we still have an ending potentially out there that ends happily for our main character. Like, I can still see it. In fact, that's the one I'm predicting right now. It sucks because in some ways I don't think Miggy's going to make it out of this. But,
probably not.
But it's if we can make our way to that ending with, you know, a good step, you know, in our gate on our way there, you know, that will be amazing. That will be incredible, because I think just
how messy will it get along the way?
Yeah, I think that this story is ultimately about Miggy and Shinichi kind of finding their way to have balance of the species, basically. They're the representation for all the things that it could be, because the main character. And
they're in this unique situation.
Yeah, they're in this unique situation. And therefore, however they choose to have that end is kind of the show's representation of how of humanity in a way. And either way, I think even if they go for a more darker ending, I still think they end up pushing things in the direction where the baby that was taken care of by Tamiya Ryoko still ends up getting adopted by Murano in that case.
Sure.
And then ends up with a good family. And maybe there is something, you know, slight in the baby, maybe some small cells here and there, not anything crazy, but something that will basically carry on what the parasites brought.
Sure.
Because I do feel like this is going to be one of those stories where we realize even maybe things like the Chimera Antark in a slight way, like, took inspiration from
I would not be surprised.
This story.
Well, and then there's also the question of, like, even if that baby is normal, right? Because it was a human body that gave birth to it, even though it was being, you know, mecha piloted by a parasite. What if Shinichi and Murano have a baby? Because if Miggy is kind of distributed throughout Shinichi, that would be throughout all of Shinichi, right? So then wouldn't that be a possibility that the baby would end up having
1% parasite?
Yeah, or right, exactly. You know, however Shinichi's been changed, that would end up getting passed on, and it'd be a little super baby or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So, y'all, we're in this situation. I love that Murano had her talk when the inspector came by, and
yes, that was really good.
I like that the inspector is so frazzled by this whole situation that he needs to kind of declare the humanity will prevail line, you know, we will win. And it's like, oh my god, like, have you already, like, figured it out, the us versus them kind of dynamic? Like, you're tapping into that right now? Okay, cool. And then you've separated also, you know, Shinichi from your
because why did you go and stand at his school waiting for him, and why did you having a feeling you need to say that? Sure, I could totally understand that in your own time by yourself, like, humanity will prevail. But going and saying that in front of someone else, that's
a little bit of a threat,
right?
But given that he then follows that up with, I want you to work with us, please work with us, is basically him saying, okay, I'm smart. Don't think of me as stupid here. I understand that there's a very real possibility that you're not with us. But I would like you to be with us.
Right.
I understand that you're scared, because you will be, because we're going to win. But I don't want to win in such a way that whatever that part of humanity that even Urugami saw, like, because, you know, if you have just recesses of something dark within you, I want to call out to your humanity and be like, join us and help us resolve this in a proper way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that he was definitely thinking with his emotions here. He was not.
Oh, definitely.
He was not.
Oh, yeah.
He was not leading this with a logical mind because he's scared too.
Right.
And I think him declaring the "we will win" thing is more along the lines of showcasing how scared he is that he needs to do this here.
Yeah.
And in some ways, he's already kind of decided, yeah, there's something different about Shinichi. So therefore, we need him with us. We don't want to be enemies here. Because maybe he had already known that there was someone like, the other guy on his way. And it's like, yeah, I'm not going to have him just accidentally end up in the crossfire of this guy. Let's see if we can appeal to his humanity and have him join us here.
Sure.
And even on a strategic level, having your friends close and your enemies closer just makes sense. Like,
yes,
definitely. It just makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, so,
right.
So all the scenarios I would say work here, unless Shinichi just ended up being a crazy psycho wacko parasite and just ended up going out on a murdering spree because he felt threatened by his "we will win" line, which I think was a 0.0000001.011.
It's like in those like mafia games when you're like, all right, everyone who's not the killer, raise your hand or something. It's like,
yeah. I love doing those types of like mind games on the group in a game of Mafia or something like that.
You were 2 seconds slower than the rest of them.
Right, exactly.
Was that a Freudian slip, or were you just not listening carefully?
Right, or trying to catch them on their pronoun. Misusage, where using we, you, our.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, when someone was like, yeah, the we were playing, what's the game, Resistance? Yeah, they were like, yeah, the spies,
Resistance,
or the Resistance, they, and then.
Well, we're just saying the Resistance, like. Well, like sometimes you kind of need to do that because
no, because I'll use that sometimes as well. But it'll be like the Resistance needs to slow down the game, like. But then you'll see them go really quickly. We need to slow down the game, and it's like, you felt the need to re-emphasize that we being with the Resistance,
and then it's all just witch hunts and flamethrowers against civilians.
It's true though. It's true.
Like that's how it works, and that's why it's fun, and that's why it ruins friendships. And
I mean, if it ruins friendships, you shouldn't have been playing.
Well,
the game
right. No, I know.
Place.
I'm just saying it's one of those ones that, let's say, strains friendships,
yeah,
or at least it can. Not if you're doing it right, but
I like those kind of social games. They're fun.
Oh yeah.
But we have the next episode to look forward to, where we have a parasite that's been detected.
Yeah,
and the humans are smart. They're like, yeah, they go and take the brain. Cool. We'll just scan their bodies with X-rays and see which parts have been consumed.
Right. I feel like this is almost one of those things where it's like in a D&D campaign, it's just you just grab everybody and just say you're
detect magic.
Well, not detect magic. Just the you're being detained for 24 hours. We'll let you go at the end of the 24 hours or whatever. And then all the PCs just start sweating like crazy. They're like, nope, we can't let this happen. Nope. And the thing is that that's all they'd need to basically just be like, okay, cool. We're going to ask you some questions randomly. And then when, say they're getting asked for questions, they just get taken over to a different area, whatever. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. But that's it, y'all. Thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion.
Yeah.
And if you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length reactions there. And all of this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us and the community about these stories, about anime in general. And you can also talk with Jacob about the book he wrote.
That's
pretty awesome.
Right. Yes, my book, because you've clearly never heard about it before, because otherwise you would have bought it, right?
Yeah.
My sci-fi novel, Battle Lines, is available for purchase on Amazon. The link's in the description below. There's some reviews on there, so you can see what other people thought about it. And if you do get it, make sure to leave a review of your own.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.